One earns $200,000 a year and looks the part completely. The other is a retired school teacher who never once cracked six figures. One of them is a millionaire. The other would collapse in about 2 months if the income stopped. And it's not the one you'd guess. Here's why. Hey, I'm Rod. I built this channel because when I was starting out, nobody made money simple. So let's change that. Roadmap. 3 things today. 1. The 3 unglamorous shields that protect everything you've built. 2. Lifestyle creep and why a raise can leave you exactly as fragile as you were before it. 3. The single decision that separates people who look rich from people who are. Let's start with the part nobody films. Section 1. Shield 1. The cushion. The first shield isn't an investment at all. It's the thing that stops you from destroying one. Right now, a good high-yield savings account pays somewhere around 4%, while the typical big bank savings account pays a fraction of 1%. Move $10,000 from the sleepy account into the high-yield one, and you go from earning a couple of dollars a year to roughly $400. Real money for paying attention once. But the interest isn't even the main reason it matters. The real job of that cash cushion is emotional. When the car dies or the job disappears, the person with 3 to 6 months of expenses handles it and moves on. The person without it does the most destructive thing an investor can do. They panic sell. They pull money out at the worst possible moment, locking in losses, interrupting the compounding, undoing years of quiet progress. The boring emergency fund is what lets the boring investment survive a bad month. Section 2. Shield 2. The debt rule. The second shield sounds old-fashioned, right up until you see the math. In that same study of 10,000 millionaires, about 3 out of 4 said they had never carried a credit card balance in their entire lives. Not once. And 94% said they simply live on less than they make. Here's why that matters more than it sounds. High-interest debt is just compounding pointed in the wrong direction. Same patience, same relentlessness, aimed at you. You cannot outrun interest that's running the other way, so they never let it start. Section 3. Shield 3. The house. The third shield is the least glamorous purchase in the world, and one of the most decisive. A home you can actually afford, slowly paid off. Recent federal data puts the median net worth of American homeowners near $400,000. For renters, closer to $10,000. That's a gap of nearly 40 to 1. Now, that gap isn't all caused by the house. Homeowners tend to be older and higher earning. But the mechanism underneath it is real. Nobody films the moment they make their final mortgage payment the way they film a new car in the driveway. But it quietly erases the largest expense most families carry, right as working income begins to fade. Section 4. Lifestyle creep. Now here's the pattern that undoes all 3, and most people never notice it happening. It's called lifestyle creep. You get a raise. Within a month or 2, your spending rises to swallow it. Bigger apartment, nicer car, slightly more expensive everything. The raise vanishes into your lifestyle. Your savings rate never moves. You could double your income over a decade and be exactly as fragile at the end as you were at the start, just with fancier problems. That's why so many people on very comfortable salaries still live paycheck to paycheck. Their spending is a shadow that grows the moment their income does. Section 5. Define enough. So the wealthy do something that feels almost strange in a culture built on more. They define enough. They decide on purpose what a good life actually costs for them. Then, they let their income climb past that line, without letting their spending follow. When a raise comes, the difference goes straight into investing, not into an upgrade. From the outside, it looks like they're leaving joy on the table. What they're actually buying is the most valuable thing money can purchase: freedom. And freedom doesn't photograph well. That's why you never see it. Section 6. Trent and Shane. Let's make that concrete. Trent earns $200,000 a year and looks completely the part. The car, the watch, the vacations, the address. Everyone assumes he's wealthy, but his spending rose to match every raise he ever got, so he saves almost nothing. If his income stopped, his entire life would unravel in about 2 months. Now Shane, recently retired teacher, never cracked 6 figures in his life. Modest cars, same small home for decades. Quietly invested a piece of every paycheck for 35 years. He's a millionaire. Trent looks rich and is fragile. Shane looks ordinary and is free. Only one of them ever has to worry, and it's not the one you'd pick from across the street. Section 7. Why nobody told you. Let's zoom out for a second, because there's a reason almost none of this reaches you. An entire industry is built on making you feel behind. The flashy trade, the hot new asset, the overnight story, all engineered to be exciting because excitement sells. Steady index investing and automatic transfers generate no headlines. Nobody gets rich selling you patience. You're not behind because you missed a secret. You're behind because the truth was too boring to trend. So here's what real wealth actually is. Forget the number you show other people. What matters is the number of mornings you wake up without dread. It's the ability to absorb a surprise bill, a job loss, or a bad year without your life quietly falling apart. And the freeing part? If wealth is boring, then it's learnable, repeatable, available on an ordinary income. Spend less than you earn, invest the difference automatically, keep a cushion so you never panic, avoid expensive debt, then wait. Let your life look a little boring on the surface while the real thing builds underneath. One day you'll be the calm person somebody else never suspects. If this series helped, subscribe. Money Made Simple every week. And in the comments, what does enough actually cost for you? Put a number on it. That answer changes people. Next video, we're taking the richest version of this idea and putting it under a microscope. The billionaire who still lives in the house he bought in 1958, and what that one decision reveals about all of it. I'll see you there.